The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
It's time. It's time for
coffee time.
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 And here is your coffee time crew.
Well, good morning, everyone, and as promised, welcome back to Coffee Time with Blind United. It is Wednesday, and or as George likes to say, hump day, all that good stuff. But anyway, we have two interest groups for you this evening. First one being knitting, crocheting, and jewelry making, our crafting group, which actually is the sponsors of the crafting showcase we're doing on the 21st. So, but anyway, that one's at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and then right behind that, it is also going to be getting the most out of your Meta Ray-Bans. So if you got a pair of Meta Ray-Bans, or maybe you just want to learn more about Meta Ray-Bans, come on in, check us out. Bring a list of questions, you know what I'm saying? If you have any issues, or maybe come in and share some tips and tricks that, you may have discovered and you willing to share with the community so we can all do better, right? So anyway, that's coming up tonight. Again, knitting, crocheting at 5 and getting the most out of your Meta Ray-Bans at 6. So don't forget to come out and join us later on tonight for that stuff. Anyway, we've been talking about, it's been in the news about the protests here in L.A. over Trump and his ICE raids and all the stuff that's been going on with that. And, in the more developing news, these protests are spreading. They're not just in L.A. anymore, although Trump didn't call out the National Guard and brought in the Marines for us folks out here in L.A., is he going to do the same across the country where these protests are flaring up? Does he not get the message that people are not with these Gestapo-style raids on, people's homes, people's businesses, going into, these public schools? All of these various different things, all of these little tricks and things that he's doing, to round up what he wants to call criminals. Well, if it's a criminal, why they got a job? Why are you going, and I'm saying this on the viewpoint that I do acknowledge that coming here without, proper paperwork, illegally crossing the border is technically a crime. But again, knowing what I know, at least 95% of these people that are coming over here, they're not coming over here to commit no crimes. They're coming over there to try to do the best they can for their family. They're trying to make a better life for themselves and their family, So anyway, all that stuff has got twisted. So anyway, this first article, because we're talking about protesters, right? So this first article is going to be about the fact that, it was put in the Constitution for us to be able to do this stuff. So again, we're going to lay out what it is, why it was given to us within the Constitution. So anyway, let's check this article out, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Hey, Blind United crew. Grab your next cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into the second article. After talking about the recent protests, it's a perfect time to look at the legal foundation for these actions. The ability for Americans to gather and make their voices heard isn't just a tradition. It's a fundamental right written directly into the U.S. Constitution. So, what does the Constitution actually say about our right to protest? The core of this right is found in the very first amendment of the Bill of Rights. While many of us know it protects freedom of speech and religion, it also contains two other crucial that work together. The first is the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and the second is the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. These two clauses form the bedrock of our constitutional right to protest. The key word the founders included is peaceably. The Constitution protects your right to gather with others in public spaces, like parks, sidewalks, and town squares, to support a cause or express an opinion. The petition clause adds another important layer. It means we all have the right to formally ask the government to fix a problem or change a law without fearing punishment for doing so. This is a powerful tool for citizens to demand accountability from their leaders. However, this right is not absolute, and the Supreme Court has clarified this over the years. The government can enforce reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. For example, a city can require a permit for a large march that will block traffic, partly to ensure safety for both the protesters and the public. Likewise, officials can restrict the use of loud bullhorns late at night in a residential neighborhood. The critical thing to remember is that these restrictions must be content neutral. They must be applied equally to all groups, regardless of what their message is. Ultimately, the right to protest does not protect actions that turn violent, incite a riot, damage property, or physically block someone from accessing a building. It is a right to be heard, not to cause harm. Understanding this right is central to participating in our democracy, ensuring that every citizen's voice has a protected place in the public square. What are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear them. Let us know in the comments. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
All right. Well, first off, let me apologize for that stating that this was the second article. I put them in a different order from which I generated them. So therefore, that's why this one says second. The next one's actually going to say first. So, but anyway, also Katie Taylor popped in and said good morning. And she said what the message that is not being spoken here is that if you're not behind ICE, then you're not American. Wow. But anyway, I mean, again, it's in the Constitution about us having the right to protest. Again, I agree with, and I stand by what it says in the Constitution that it must be a peaceful protest. Do I condone, some of these bad actors? I mean, it's just like, in a late update, they did impose a curfew in downtown LA last night, being from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m., just to try to get people out of that area or whatever. Here's the crazy part. The area in which they are protesting, don't nobody live down there. It's all businesses. I mean, it's federal businesses, federal courthouses, state courthouses, municipal courthouses, stuff like that. There's no residents in there right now. I mean, again, I was looking, late last night, early this morning or whatever. All of this protest and stuff that's going on in LA right now is within a 1 mile radius. Okay? 1 mile radius. When you think about how big LA is, a 1 mile radius, okay, you need 4,000, National Guard. You need an additional 800 Marines. Okay, come on, man.
Crazy.
This makes sense. He doesn't want us to protest. He doesn't want us to speak our mind. You know what I'm saying? I mean, bottom line, That's why we have the right to protest. This is why we actually have the right to address our government about things that we don't feel are right or unjust. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is all about. He's talking about protests coming up this Saturday. Oh, if you show up and protest to my military parade, you will be met with, strong force.
Mm, mm, mm.
Now you're threatening Americans to not protest. That's totally unconstitutional. That's totally unpresidential. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, this stuff is just he is doing everything he can to create an authoritarian regime to where whatever he says goes, and to hell with the Constitution. Okay. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's basically what this is all about. So, again, folks, I know, especially for our community, we can't necessarily get out there and protest the way we may truly want to simply because it could turn into a really volatile situation for us. Because, let's just say they start lofting tear gas and whatnot. We can't see the tear gas. We can't see which way to try to make our escape. You know what I'm saying? All of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, again, I'd love to be out there protesting with them. I'd love to be locked arms, shoulder to shoulder. I don't know. Maybe we need to go back to the old days in the '60s when they were doing sit-ins, and all this other kind of stuff. People showing up to these federal buildings and handcuffing themselves to the furniture. You know,
Right.
all this other kind of stuff to make our point. Because again, you don't want to hear what we got to say right now, but you should be listening. But instead, you'd rather send out, the military, and you're actually testing you're pushing the envelope right now because what you have just done, or he has just done, is unconstitutional. Okay, it's against everything that we stand for. You have to collaborate with the governor. Didn't nobody ask you to send no National Guard in? Didn't nobody ask you to send no Marines in? Didn't nobody call you and tell you that our law enforcement was overwhelmed? The only thing that made this really, really go bad for LAPD and the LA sheriffs in the beginning was the fact that ICE did not let them know that they were going to be in the area so that LAPD and LA sheriffs could have pre-positioned themselves around the city so that they would know where these hot spots might pop up and they could have reacted a lot quicker. But because they didn't know, it was almost like a 30-minute response time by the time people got themselves in position, But by then, ICE had already made it go out of control. But once the police and the sheriff stepped in, they were able to control these folks. I'm sitting there watching the news last night. They literally had these folks, somewhat under control. I mean, they were marching them from this area to that area, to that area to this area. They were doing tactics where they split the crowd up into more manageable sizes, stuff like that, The only thing that I seen that was truly disruptive last night, Highway Patrol was there blocking people from walking onto the freeway. But the protesters actually found a hole in the fence and went onto the freeway anyway. It was so they did stop the freeway, for a while during traffic hours, which is already bad enough as it is, right? Traffic in LA is ridiculous. But so it happened during that 4 or 5 o'clock hour when everybody's getting on the freeway. So, but anyway, no, we have the right to protest peacefully. I say exercise your rights whenever, wherever, whenever you see it needs to be done, do it. So anyway, I'm sorry, Carol, I was rambling on.
No, 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 no. I mean, everything that you just said is accurate. And history has shown that we have the right to protest peacefully. And it sounds like these individuals are out there doing exactly that. and still getting pushback. Like you said, see, I'm not there where you're at. So they're in an area you're stating where there's no residential individuals where they can disrupt anything. Business offices generally are closed around the time that they're actually trying to set a curfew, it sounds like. And yet, here it is, still again, a sad occurrence occurring to where individuals cannot peacefully protest about ICE and what they disagree is going on. And to not have a right to speak, you're telling me to shut up, to not do anything, or now I'm going to be threatened with possibly violence. Is I've said it, before. It's a sad day to be an American, to not have the right to do what we legally have a right to do, and to not have any say or be able to have any action or any uh, 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 thing to even encourage us to want to follow the rules and still be told that we can't do it makes absolutely no sense. And like you're stating, he has not even contacted or had a conversation or a sit down with your mayor, with your governor. He's just come out blatantly and brought out the National Guard, brought out the Marines, and what's next? And it's just the beginning. California is just the beginning. It's probably going to occur, like you're saying. Protests are going on all around America and individual states now to just kind of up heed and be representative of what is actually happening there. But it's going to spread, like an infection. And it's a sad thing that this is a sore spot that we have absolutely no control over. It's horrible. It's
Well,
horrible
I
the
mean,
way
we
that
do
people are
have
being treated.
we do have control, but he's trying to take that away. Again, he's trying to eliminate our ability to protest. That's our control on the government, the right to protest, and he's trying to take that away. So I mean, it just again, it's this authoritarian mentality that he has. And he just making it worse and worse and worse by doing what he's doing. Again, he he didn't contact Newsom, but then he gets on TV and they asked him, on the news thing, they asked him, okay, well, when's the last time you talked to Newsom? He said yesterday. And thank God Newsom is paying attention because he immediately got on social media and said there was no call, there was no message. Okay, then he's got his little lackeys with Fox News jump on there and say, well, he sent me his phone records, and his phone records show that he contacted him, you know, was it late Thursday night or early Friday morning or something like that. Okay, but that ain't when he was asked a question on Tuesday about
Mm,
when was the last time you talked to Newsom, and he said yesterday. Okay, so that would have meant that he talked to him on Monday. Well, no, your phone log that you sent as proof reflects that you did contact him, before the weekend, and Newsom acknowledged that. You did call him, but you didn't say anything about the protests.
that wasn't a conversation.
That wasn't even in the conversation. But yet you want to stand up in your press briefings or whatever you want to call them, your little cameo moments, whatever,
Rant
feeding
raves.
feeding your ego, you know, that you did call him. No, you don't quit lying, man. Quit.
Right.
Stop. Tisha says good morning, and also Katie Taylor says, this thing might be also a recruitment campaign for the KKK. This whole thing. Whoever's with it, of course, they believe in this kind of stuff, and they just don't believe, in America being the melting pot that it is. So
Right. Right.
it is, it is what it is. But anyway, this whole day is going to be about this type of stuff. So anyway, let me get these promos out, and then we can talk about the next article. So here we go.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United.
Hustling jingles, $10 a shot. Birthday beats and holiday knocks. Gotcha covered for the ones you love. Personalized joy like a custom glove. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford. Got a catchy tune for your babe. Poppin' beats like dreams we crave. For Mama's Day or Papa's cheer, let's make smiles from ear to ear. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford.
All right. Well, I mean, I played that because we are still, creating these jingles and stuff, right? It doesn't matter what the occasion is, again, we got graduations jumping off right now. We got Father's Day coming up on Sunday. People having birthdays every day, people having weddings and all kind of stuff, I don't know, maybe you might, it sounds kind of grim, but you might even want to create a memorial jingle for somebody that you recently lost, whatever. Again, we do all that, whatever it is, we can get that taken care of for you.
Even a jingle, the right to protest. Hey,
right to protest. We can do that one too. So, but anyway, let's get into this next one. I don't know if anybody has heard. Do you know that there is a nationwide protest jumping off on Saturday? Did you know that, Carol?
No, I didn't. I didn't miss out on that.
No, it ain't Saturday yet, so you ain't missed out.
You're right. Okay.
So anyway, check this out, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Hey, Blind United crew. Grab your first cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this first article. A nationwide day of protest is scheduled for this Saturday, June 14th, and it's directly connected to the ongoing situation in Los Angeles. The event, called the No Kings Day of Defiance, is being organized by a coalition of over 150 progressive groups, led by the grassroots organization Indivisible. The protests are a direct response to the Trump administration's actions in LA and a planned military parade in Washington, D.C. The timing of this protest is intentional. June 14th is Flag Day, the 250th anniversary of the United States Army, and President Trump's 79th birthday. The president is scheduled to hold a large military parade in Washington, D.C., a spectacle that organizers of the No Kings movement are calling a made-for-TV display of dominance. In response, they are not protesting in D.C. itself, but are instead holding over 1,500 separate, nonviolent rallies in cities and towns across the country, from Philadelphia to San Francisco. The core message of the No Kings movement is a rejection of what they see as rising authoritarianism and corruption. Organizers say they are protesting the administration's ongoing constitutional violations, specifically citing the recent deployment of the National Guard and U.S. Marines in Los Angeles against the wishes of the governor as a prime example of federal overreach. Their slogan, featured prominently on their website, is "We're showing up everywhere he isn't," to say no thrones, no crowns, no kings. This protest is significant because it directly ties the controversial events in Los Angeles to a broader national movement. The organizers have stated that the administration's response to the LA immigration protests generated an overwhelming interest in their pre-planned event. They aim to create a powerful contrast. While the administration displays military might in the capital, citizens across the country will gather peacefully to affirm their commitment to democratic principles and civil rights. This Saturday's events will place two very different visions of America on display. It's a story about the power of grassroots organizing and a fundamental disagreement over the use of federal power and the meaning of patriotism. What are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear them. Let us know in the comments. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
I love what he said there about they're going to be everywhere he isn't.
Right.
I love that. I mean, again, and this protest was actually started back, when he started talking about doing this parade, right? I mean, this dude is going off, man. I mean, he is literally putting up a fence around Washington, D.C. Okay? I mean, I guess he doesn't even want any spectators. I mean, he's just blocking everybody out just so he can stand there on the balcony at the White House or whatever from the Oval Office and look out like Kim Jong Un or Putin and watch the military roll by. You know what I'm saying? He's putting all of our tanks, he's putting all of our, equipment, all of our stuff on full display to the world. You know what? Number one, that's your ego, dude. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just that simple. Number one, that's your ego. Number two, you're revealing secrets. Okay? You showing the world the type of arsenal that we have available to us to come at them. And I think that's your whole point. I think that's what you want to do. You want to try to create fear amongst the rest of the folks on the planet, just like you're doing right here at home by threatening people if they show up to protest on Saturday that you're going to meet them with a strong resistance, strong force. Okay? Just like you sending this military to LA, you're just trying to put fear in people. You just like the ice rage rolling through these small towns or large towns. It doesn't matter. But when people look up and they see a caravan of, ice vehicles and then people jumping out of a bus or a vehicle or whatever, they're literally transporting these agents in a bus. But when they jump out and they got all this flak jackets and all this full military style gear, with face masks and all this kind of stuff on, it's all in an effort to create fear amongst the American citizens for doing what they have the right to do. They have the right to protest, okay? These folks you claiming and you running around and you picking up, again, yeah, okay, they're criminals because they came over here illegally. But once they got here, they filed the paperwork. They out there working. They paying taxes that they're never going to see a benefit from. Okay, they just trying to live their best life. You know what I'm saying? They not out here with a gun sticking nobody up. They not robbing nobody, ain't raping nobody. They ain't doing none of this. They're not dealing in, if they were dealing in drugs, again, why would they be working? Okay, if you're looking for criminals, how about go to the jail? Okay, grab all of them folks. You always talking about how all these other countries are dumping their prison systems and insane asylums on us, but yet you won't even go into our jails and get the ones that we have actually labeled as criminals and deport them. You want to go around and get everyday, hardworking folks that's just trying to do something right for their families, and you want to lock them up. Find you a protest near you. There's going to be over 1,800 protests jumping off on Saturday. If you're from our community, I strongly suggest that, you make sure you got, somebody with you that can be vigilant and pay attention to what's going on around y'all, just in case something stupid jumps off. And most importantly, keep it peaceful. Keep it peaceful. Say what you're going to say. You ain't got to break no windows. You ain't got to vandalize nothing. Okay, you ain't got to break no windows out of no storefronts and go in there and loot. That ain't got nothing to do with the reason why we protesting. You just that if you're doing that, you are a criminal. You are an opportunist, and you're hiding behind the crowd to be able to go in there and make you a quick buck. That's not good. So anyway, that's what I got on it, Kel.
Right. I mean, I didn't know it was jumping off like that on Saturday, but I am going to find me someone visual that I trust, that if something does jump off, I'm protected along with them. And, like you're stating, I remember the article that was played back when he was talking about displaying the military, tanks and all of the weaponry. And, I was taught early on, you don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, and just think of all the destruction that's going to have to be repaired after this. Tanks, they heavy. They're going to destroy the roads. And, here it is, you blocking people trying to get where they need to go. Now you're putting a fence up and, like the website was saying, no thrones, no crowns, no king. Come on. We are not living in that era. That is dead, supposedly. But here it is, you and your ego is trying to bring all of this craziness back. We're not trying to go backwards. We are trying to move forward. And the right to protest is a right that we have based on history of what people have peacefully tried to do for years based on what they do not like. And here it is, all of this is you're trying to shut all of this down. You're trying to scare everyone into hiding and not be able to defend the Constitution. Really? I mean, I just I urge, just like you, everyone that can get out there and do it peacefully, and represent and let him know exactly how we feel. You have the right to do this. And I kind of like that, what they said too, be every place he's not going to be. Because if he's in Washington, he can't be everywhere. And I'm
No,
wondering if he's got to pull some of the military that's there in Los Angeles to kind of hold down the fort where he is in DC, to make sure that nothing jumps off, because people gonna go crazy, ape crazy based on all of this. But we don't
well,
have to do that. We can,
just so you know, Carol,
yes.
your governor,
Oh, come
your
on.
governor,
I already know about his crazy.
no, he has already called out the Texas National Guard in advance of the protests coming up on Saturday.
What?
Yes. So
Wow. So I need to
uh,
be ready.
you need to be ready. Right quick, Katie Taylor says, that this parade is a taxpayer funded event. And, I mean, again, they talking about it's going to be, $45 million.
Ooh.
Okay. No, I think there is a very, very low ball.
Mm.
Okay. You take
Maybe
into
a million.
consideration, well, they saying it could be up to $1 billion.
Ooh.
Okay, or $500 million at least, 500 million.
Wow.
Okay, they saying
Wow.
48 million right now, but you think about that, all of these military had to be relocated to DC.
Right.
Okay, all of these tanks and stuff had to be re-equipped with tracks that have rubber pads on them in an effort to try to stop from tearing up the streets of DC.
True. True.
Okay, DC, number one, is going around and they putting up all these fences to keep people out. Number one. Number two, they going around and you've seen those big steel plates, Carol, that they put on the street when they're doing construction. They might have a
Oh
big
yeah.
hole dug and they'll put down a steel plate that you can drive over.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
doing that in DC to try to prevent the tanks from tearing up the ground.
Oh wow. And that's
Guess
not
what?
cheap.
And all of this, every one of them military folks, every one of them truck drivers is moving their stuff to DC. Every one of them city workers is putting up fences or putting down them steel plates, whatever the case may be. All of that stuff costs money. Ain't nobody doing none of that for free.
Oh no.
Even those military folks that you are making march in your parade, right?
Right.
All of that costs money. They're getting paid.
Oh yeah, they getting paid.
All of them tanks, everything that's going to be, all of that is diesel fuel or gas or whatever the case may be. You know, all of that costs money. That's not even to talk about the jets and all of this, the show of military in the air that you got coming through.
Because he gonna fly over. You know, it's gonna be a big show. Like,
Exactly, a big show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all to pat his ego. He got lucky because it is his birthday. Also, for those that did not know, his birthday just happened to be on Flag Day, and this year just happens to be the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, and he's using that as a cover to be able to put on his parade.
Crazy.
He doesn't want to admit that it's for his birthday, it's for his ego. He wants to do it under the pretense, we need to celebrate our military. And we celebrate our military every day.
Every day.
Okay. Every day I run into a veteran, which I'm not going to lie, it's not every day, but whenever I run into them, man, I always thank them for their service.
That's right.
Look at what you're doing. You cutting out their benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You taking stuff away from them.
But want them to represent you on your birthday now. But
you want them to come and march in front of you like you some sort of a king on your birthday.
An emperor.
This stuff is just ridiculous. It makes no sense whatsoever. So again, if you can get out there and protest, you know what I'm saying, do it. If you're somebody from our community, you know what I'm saying, just please make sure that you're safe. You know what I'm saying? I want us all to get out there and protest, but at the same time, we know that we can't do it by ourselves. Our technology is not good enough to let me know, hey, run this tear ass,
Right.
We don't have that ability.
Might be delayed. Or with everything that's going on, they gonna knock a little Wi-Fi down or cut a few cell towers down as well. You never know.
All of this kind of stuff. But again, do what we got to do. We have got to let him know that, no, this is not working. It's not going down like this. Not in America. This is not what people have fought and died for.
That's
okay?
Right.
They fought for a free America, not an authoritarian regime. Okay? No, it's not going down like that.
And I actually had no idea that Greg Abbott was a part of actually, inviting the National Guards down here in advance of what he think may jump off.
No. So, it's not an invite, sweetheart.
Oh, okay.
It's an order.
It's a demand.
It's an order. He is, and again, he has the right to do that.
True.
Right?
True.
In advance, and hopefully he does it the right way to where these folks are there basically just to back up the police.
Nah, he's not gonna do it the right way.
You know what I'm saying? So again, this is just more of Trump and his cronies, his lackeys that doing his bidding. And now Abbott wants to get in on the action, and I can't let Trump have all the headlines. I need a few for myself.
And here it is. He's a part of the community. He's in a wheelchair. He's part of the disabled community.
But he don't care.
True. That's true.
He don't care. He don't care if you got a wheelchair ramp to get into your favorite restaurant as long as he got one to get into his office.
True.
Okay, he don't care about accessibility unless it pertains to him. He don't care disability rights unless it pertains to him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's ridiculous. These folks are so hypocritical is what it really is.
Or as backwards, as my uncle used to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna bring the military down on top of protesters that were actually pretty much peaceful protesters at the time, but yet the first day in office, you want to pardon all the people that tore up the Capitol. You want to let all them out. Okay, we got video evidence of them tearing up the nation's capital.
Right, but they've been pardoned.
And now you want to go and lock some people up for what? Putting some graffiti on top of a federal building? Come on, this don't make no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Anyway, I'm gonna jump into some more of these. Let me get back up here because I forgot I moved down. Let me get over here.
But yeah, if you can get out safely and protest on Saturday, do it. It is your right.
Right. So here we go. Let me get these promos out the way and we'll get into our last article. Did you know Blind United offers free training in assistive technology? We call them interest groups. We offer training in JAWS, NVDA, iPhone, iPad, as well as Meta Ray-Bans. We also have groups like support group, cooking groups, and crafting groups. There are also groups for entertainment like movie night and RS Game Night. For more information about all the interest groups that we offer, just email us at info@blindunited.org or visit our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Group. We would love to have you be part of the Blind United crew.
I know it sounds wrong. Yeah. Show star, it's 21st, and we're setting it off. Blind United's popping with that handmade sauce. Necklaces, bracelets, jewels that gleam, mosaics and pastries like a sweet dream. Made by the people I love, no cap. Supporting our artists, now that's a wrap. Step to the fair, yeah, roll through the door. Blind United's got what you're looking for. Crafts, good vibes, and a whole lot of heart. This ain't just shopping, this here is art. Step to the fair, yeah, roll through the door. Blind United's got what you're looking for. Cookies, candles, and that custom bling. Supporting small makers doing their thing. Real talk, every item's got a soul. So grab your folks and let's hit that go. From the blind to the bold, from the hands to the heat. Every booth got a story, every table a beat. Come early, come ready, show love, don't play. We're building a vibe that won't fade away. So tune and pull up, it's the coffee time way. Craft fair on the 21st, don't delay. We doing it live, Blind United on the rise. Come catch that spark and support with pride.
All right. Well, as you can tell, that's a new promo for the crafting event. Because again, yesterday was a deadline. If you didn't get in, I'm sorry, but that sucks for you. Again, if you're a crafter or, somebody that does that kind of stuff, you want every opportunity you can. I mean, if you're doing it just for a hobby, maybe not. But a lot of people, they have a dream of being able to, create a product they can sell. And this is an opportunity to showcase that product. So, but anyway, that part's behind us. Now it's all about stacking up your chips. Come on out, support, pick up some items, that, you might find appealing. The jewelry makers that are there, you go in there and order a special piece that you would like to have or something like that. There's folks that make specialty, desserts and stuff like that. Maybe you might want to order some of that kind of stuff. Who knows? Come on out, check it out. You will be receiving stuff in the email really, really soon about, all the various products that will be there and be on display. So anyway, look forward to that. Again, what today is all about, doing this protest stuff. Like I said, first up, it was our Constitution, showing our constitutional right about doing it. Second article was about, how to get involved and The national protest is getting ready to take place this Saturday on the 14th. And now we're going to talk about why it's important to protest. Check this out. Whoops.
I liked it. I could hear that again. Yeah. Get your bling bling on and yum yum.
On the wrong button. Anyway, let me hit this button.
All right.
We'll talk to y'all on the other side.
Hey, Blind United crew. Grab another cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this final article. We've talked about specific protests and the constitutional right to assemble, but that leaves us with a final, crucial question. Why is protesting so important in the first place? In the United States, protesting is more than just an expression of disagreement. It is one of the most powerful and essential engines for change, woven into the very fabric of the nation's history and identity. At its core, protesting is how everyday citizens hold power accountable. It's how those who feel unheard in the halls of government can band together to demand attention and action. The nation's founders understood that a healthy republic required a way for the people to express dissent and challenge the status quo. Protest serves as a vital feedback mechanism, signaling to lawmakers when a policy is unpopular, unjust, or harmful, and forcing them to confront issues they might otherwise prefer to ignore. History provides us with powerful and undeniable proof. For decades, the idea of women having the right to vote was dismissed by those in power. It was only through relentless protest, through marches, picketing, and acts of civil disobedience by the suffragists that the political will was finally forged. The constant public pressure they created made it impossible to ignore their demand for equality, leading directly to the passage of the 19th Amendment in 1920, which fundamentally changed our democracy forever. Similarly, the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s is a profound testament to the power of peaceful protest. The incredible bravery of those who participated in the Montgomery bus boycott, the lunch counter sit-ins, and the historic March on Washington exposed the deep injustice of segregation to the entire world. These actions created a moral crisis that compelled the federal government to act, resulting in the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. From establishing the 8-hour workday to advancing environmental protections, the story of American progress is deeply intertwined with the story of protest. It is not always the easiest or most comfortable path to change. It requires great courage, but it remains a vital and constitutionally protected one. It reminds us that in a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, sometimes the people need to gather outside to make sure their voices are heard inside. What are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear them. Let us know in the comments. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
You know, one thing I thought would have came up on this one, a lot of people don't realize this, or maybe they just went over their head. I don't know. Do you realize that America was born out of protest? We were protesting the British because of their taxation. Okay? And we rebelled. We protest.
Yes, we did.
We started what they call the Revolutionary War. Okay? It was only once we got started in the war that we realized that we needed taxes.
Right.
Well, I mean, somebody got to pay for all of that.
Right, that's right.
You know, and at the same time, the taxation that the crown was putting on the colonies, all that money was going back to Europe. None of that money was staying here to help build America.
That's right.
To help build the colonies and so on and so forth, right?
Right.
They just want to pull it out of the country and take it back to the crown. But again, it was all born out of protest. You know what I'm saying? And that's also, you know, why they added the peaceful part into the Constitution, was because why? They didn't want to see another thing go like the Revolutionary War did. They didn't want to see the violence. We understood the right to protest, and that's why it was put into the Constitution. But we also understood that to try to hold down the civil unrest part of it, we need to have that stipulation in there about it being peaceful protest. You
Right.
know, like you said, look at what it did. First, it was the women; they got their right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Next, it was the civil rights stuff. You know what I'm saying? And through the 50s and 60s, I mean, a lot of people died. A lot of people got beat up. A lot of people put their life on the line to stand out there and protest and get the rights that all Americans deserve, right?
That's right.
And it took until, like you say, 64, we got the Civil Rights Act that gave
Mm-hmm.
everybody, the right to be free. And then even there, though, it was still lacking. That's why we had to come back in 65 and have the National Voting Rights Act, okay,
Yes.
to give not only women, but all Americans the right to vote, you know. And again, even in there, they try to, oh, there's a poll tax. Oh, well, you have to tell me how many marbles are in this jar before you can register to vote. I mean, all of
Mm-hmm.
these little stupid,
Crazy.
stupid, stupid stuff trying to prohibit people's right to access the ballot. Okay? Again, protesting is important. Protesting is sewn into the fabric of America. Protesting is what lets the people inside, as the article said, protesting outside is what lets the people inside know what the American people want, what they agree with, what they don't agree with, and so on and so forth. It's a mechanism to allow the politicians and the people that are writing and creating the laws to understand what the American people want. Okay? This is not about Trump and what he wants. Damn what he wants.
Right.
Okay? He wanted to be, a stud, and he's not. He wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be this big old macho man, but he's not. I think he wanted to be orange, and he's not. You know,
Right.
so he found a way to make himself orange. I don't know, why do you feel your skin tone has to match your hair tone? That
Mm.
doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, none of
uh,
this stuff makes sense. None of it
it,
makes
it
sense.
does not. And, you know, the history part is just amazing if we pay attention to it. I think about my mother. She graduated from Wortham Colored High School. That actually is on her diploma. That was her school. And, back then, with segregation and people protesting to have the right to be able to not just go in the back of a restaurant, but to go in the front of the restaurant and sit by anyone you want to be able to drink from any water fountain, to be able to choose what job you wanted. It wasn't just for men. It's just, and be able to vote and just all of these different things through history that protesting help with, the right to be free based on just who you were and not the color of your skin. And it's funny that you say, now he's orange, uh, and does that mean that he's no longer acknowledging his race? Because he's acting as if he believes that his race is superior to all races. It's almost like going back in history, the way that he's treating everyday, hardworking American citizens. And it's just, you have to know your history and know how to fight for your rights, to have the right to protest peacefully and to be able to stand up and say, I don't agree with what is going on, but I can agree to disagree by standing here and standing next to someone, whether it be arm in arm or shoulder to shoulder, and have the right to say what it is that I choose to without violence. I don't think that that should be taken lightly. I don't think that it should be taken away. And hopefully, everyone that has breath in their body and the will to want to stand up will show up on Saturday, wherever you can, to continue this right to be able to peacefully protest, you know?
And let people know, what we like and don't like.
That's right. That's right.
Come on. That they only protest when there's injustice.
Right.
Okay.
That's
And
right.
right now, this is totally unjust what you're doing.
It is.
These people ain't, no matter what you want to stand on your little soapbox and speak out loud so that your little corner of the crew over in, I don't know, whatever little pockets they hiding in around the country,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so you can get them fired up. Maybe it's like Katie says, maybe you're trying to recruit those folks, within the Klan or whatever to be part of ICE and all this other kind of stuff. I don't know what your actual motive is other than to get rid of anybody that ain't white,
Right.
because that's what it looks like, right? But he's not paying attention to what it looks like. He's only paying attention to what he wants, and it's not good. Again, you're going against the Constitution of the United States. Okay, I'm not saying that these things cannot be done, but you have to follow proper procedure
Right.
to do these things. That's why we have a government that's set up the way it's set up, because no one person holds all of that power. You know, Look at the people that you're trying to hold down. These are people that long before they even had the right to vote, long before they had even any civil rights, they were signing up in the military.
Right.
They signed up in the Civil War. Okay, they were fresh out of slavery,
Mm-hmm.
and they signed up to fight against that oppression.
That's right.
Okay, they went and signed up in, like I say, in World War One and World War Two. Why? Because they felt it was their duty, even though they didn't have any rights.
That's
Not
right.
what they felt it was their duty to defend America,
Mm-hmm.
and they went and put their life on the line. And if we can stop him from trying to eliminate history to where you won't be able to go back and reference that, right now you have that ability. Go check it out. I promise you, you'll see that it was black folks, it was brown folks, it was red folks that went in that military voluntarily and contributed in ways that is not noted.
That's right. You're
You
right.
know what I'm saying? Black folks, they became the most, with the Tuskegee Airmen, they became the most valued escort
Yeah. Even the
in
women pilots that,
in in the women. Now the
mm-hmm.
women, they went in there and, oh, okay, well, people ain't getting their mail. The women
That's
went in
right.
and said, oh no, well, we're gonna make this happen,
Mm-hmm.
and they did it. And they
Yeah.
flew the planes to deliver the mail as well.
Yes,
They
they
put their
did.
life on the line just like everybody else.
Yes, they did.
Look at how the Indians went in there because the codes kept getting broke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Indians stepped in and says, "Okay, no problem, we got you," and they started using their language, which nobody knew.
That's right.
Okay, and bottom line, we won that war. He's sitting there talking about, oh well, we won the German, the World War II against the Nazis. If it wasn't for us winning the war, you might be speaking Japanese, or maybe you'd be speaking German, or something, a mix of the two. Dude, we have basically won pretty much every war we ever got involved with, unless we just decided to lay our guns down and walk away.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, yeah, we want to celebrate. We do celebrate our military, but this is not how we celebrate it.
No.
How about we give them the day off?
Right? That
Okay,
part.
instead of bringing them to DC and putting them on full public display for your entertainment.
Crazy.
Okay.
And America is beautiful, but it's beautiful not because of one color. What makes it beautiful is because of all the colors. It's like any painting. One color makes it bland, but when you add other colors, ooh, it turns out so beautiful. And that's
Well,
America.
it's like a rainbow. A rainbow isn't a
Yes,
rainbow with only one color in it. It only becomes a rainbow when you have multiple color. It only
that's
becomes
right.
beautiful when you have all of those colors on display.
That's right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So, I mean, I don't know what you trying to do. Turn America back into, I mean, the most ruthless folks that I can remember back in history that was all Caucasian was the Vikings. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I mean, I don't
Right.
know. Is that what you want to do? Just go and just start taking over people's stuff? I mean, that's kind of what I hate to go here. The Caucasoid race has
Hmm.
done throughout time. It's only when we got here to America that a different way of looking at life came about. And now
Right.
you're trying to destroy that. So, anyway, again, that's it for today. You know, it's all about protest today. You know what I'm saying? In preparation for what's coming up on Saturday. Again, I encourage everybody to get out there, do your part. Please, please
Yes.
do your part.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And on that note, please do your part here for Blind United. You know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe, follow, comment, share. You know what I'm saying? Hit the notification bell, whatever it is, on whatever platform you're watching us on. It really does help. It allows us to get our message out to a lot more people. And most importantly, just like, here in Blind United, I'm trying to get the blind community to speak with one voice. As Americans, the way we overcome the oppression of an authoritarian regime is when Americans stand together and speak with one voice.
That's
So
right. That's
go
right.
out, go out this weekend, exercise your rights, and speak in one voice, and let Washington D.C. know that we're not standing for all of this. So anyway, we will be back with you guys again tomorrow. Please don't forget to come join us tonight. Like I said, we got the crafting group at 5, and we got the Meta AI group at 6. So I look forward to seeing some of you folks up in there. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next one.